Yes, so we meet another day.
Yes.
Acha, so before we begin, let's introduce ourselves with our name and our current time.
Ach-
So this is me, Animesh, and it's around 3:50 in the evening right
uh,
now.
thi- This is Rishabh, and it's around 12:20 in the afternoon.
This is Rajdeep. It's 10:20 p.m. here.
Okay, so you are the most advanced of our lot, Rajdeep.
I'm the most advanced.
So Rajdeep,
Almost
since you
time to
have seen
sleep.
the future,
Hurry up.
since you have seen the future, please tell us what our evening holds for us.
Hopefully, no more deaths from coronavirus.
Uh, Dude, the lockdown in India has been extended to April 30th.
Which I was expecting
I heard
anyway.
about it. Yeah, I was kind of expecting it
Yeah,
anyways, but it probably
yeah,
is a good thing.
Yeah.
yeah. Even I was sort of expecting, if not 2 weeks, at least a week. But I was of the mind that if they're going to extend it 2 weeks, they might give like a 1 or 2 day relaxation in between. So many people have been like stuck at places where they wouldn't want to be, and they would rather spend it somewhere else. So and there are many like even speaking of the many industries that have suddenly stopped working all of a sudden, me included. So there are a lot of shipments and exports and imports that were supposed to go down but have not been able to go down due to this lockdown. So I was thinking they might give a day or two so that those things can just be done
But
away
one
with.
or 2 days is enough to spread it rapidly, and you'll fall behind.
Yeah, no, no, not
So,
like a complete
the
relax,
government
not a
is not
lot.
going to have any control over how people's movements are going to be during 1 or 2 days. So.
Yeah, but maybe not a complete relaxation of everything, but a slight, like for examples, maybe even non-essential couriers and shipments can go ahead. Maybe they could have released that because India, there's like tons and lakhs and like crores and crores of stuffs are being
Yeah.
exported on a daily basis, right? So maybe they could have given that so that a lot of लोगों का पैसा फंसा हुआ है इस चक्कर में तो लोगों का थोड़ा पैसा निकल जाएगा like look I am a small I'm an extremely puny MSME, right? And an exporter. So मेरा ही एक month 1 month में my losses have only ran into lakhs. Okay. So now think of any MSME or export company that is like larger than me. मतलब their losses must be in crores, and I'm sure even अगर 2 दिन का भी relaxation मिलता थोड़ा सा in shipment, in things related to shipment, ऐसा नहीं कि everybody can go and watch a cinema or go to the mall. Let those things be closed. But ये सब चीज़ में थोड़ा सा I thought थोड़ा सा relaxation दिया जा सकता था. Maybe they could have allowed a few flights for medical passengers or people just like maybe one-on-one flights from here to there like I was telling you before this, like one of my friends went to her Maike in Sikkim and just got stuck there. So her husband is here, she's there, so she's it's not very ultra important, I understand that, but I'm sure there are many people who have some important business to attend somewhere else and they are stuck somewhere. So maybe a couple of days and special flights for them, for people who could afford to get through. It would have been good for at least few people. But mainly my thing was for the economy so that
Yeah.
the economy should be allowed to function a little bit and the losses थोड़ा सा कम किया जा सकता था. But anyways, A lot. We should not discuss too much about Corona. It's like it's literally like these days. If you open up Google News, if you open up Twitter, and if you open up any other news, it's just that. Just to start from the last podcast that we were having, we were talking about stocks, and I had asked a question to both Rishabh and Rajdeep whether this was a good time to invest in stocks. And the answer that I had received was yeah, it is. It is. So maybe we can go a little bit deeper into that and just ask like what are the personal not suggestions, so like the personal thoughts. Have you bought any stocks in this crisis, and if yes, which ones, and how do you see your stocks panning out in the future? So maybe let's start with Rishabh this time.
Yeah, I think it's a good time to buy. And I think for some stocks, the time has already gone, I would say. So my investment is kind of two ways. You can say 40% of my portfolio is in how they call it in US FANG stocks. So they are not everyone. So I have invested in Apple, Microsoft, Alphabet, Netflix. So these are the 4 or 5 stocks which I have done, and they are mostly for a long
I'm
time.
sorry, but what exactly is a FANG?
FANG stands for Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Google.
Okay. So there are a lot of more alphabets than FANG.
No, F stands for, it's double A-N-G, not A-N-G.
Oh, okay.
Anyways,
Okay.
yeah, so the reasoning behind this is first, everything is moving online. Even I think if we get back to normal in maybe, let's say 3-4 months, I think working from home would become a normal thing nowadays. So things will move to cloud, things will move to online and stuff like that. So most to gain from that is Microsoft and also Alphabet, because Google is everything. Like you don't search a stuff, you Google a stuff. So ad revenues from YouTube, because everyone is putting everything on YouTube and stuff like that. So that's
Including
why,
us.
including us. And Apple, because they are hugely cash positive. So this kind of crisis will not affect them. They have no debt, a huge cash balance. So these are the companies which will come out strong from this, and the valuations are very less, so I bought them. So that is one side of my investment. The other side is because oil prices have gone to like $20, and a whole of global economy would be threatened if oil prices remain in that range or go down further for even 1 month, because then economies like Saudi Arabia and US shale oil and all other major oil producing countries fail, which will lead to problem of, let's say, migrant workers working in Middle East. If they don't send back money to India or Bangladesh or Pakistan, then their economies suffer, and it's a chain reaction. So I'm quite sure oil will not remain at $20 or $25. Its sustainable range is 35 to 40. So I'm on a short term, because in the long term, battery cars they will take over. So in long term, I will go for Tesla or maybe other car companies which have done good with electric cars. But for short term, I'm long on oil. And for oil, I have invested in a slightly risky stock, which is Occidental Petroleum, because they have high debt and they're totally shale oil operative. They don't have any other businesses, so they will take a lot of hit. But one of the reasons was they suffered the most in the oil price collapse. The stock prices of Exxon and Chevron, they didn't go that down, but Occidental went very much down. Warren Buffett also has a lot of investment in that one. So if everything returns to normal, this stock should give me a good return. So I'm already 30% up on my till last Thursday. I don't know what will happen on Monday, but I want at least 200% return.
Is
I'm aiming
is Monday a working day for the stock
in
market?
US. In US, yes. In Europe, no. In India, I don't know. So
Okay. So that was a very good explanation of your
one point
investments in
one.
NASDAQ.
No, one
Yeah.
more point. One of the reasons I'm also a bit long on oil is because this is a re-election year for US president, and Republicans who support Trump are heavily invested in shale oil. So Trump cannot afford to upset them. So I'm also banking on that.
Uh-huh. Okay. So that was a very good insight into the NASDAQ. Now, please enlighten us with your views on the Indian stock market.
Okay, Indian stock market is somewhere I am having losses because I invested like 3-4 years ago. Partly the reason being I think the present government has not done enough for the economy. I was expecting much more. But in Indian stock market, I'm mostly, if I have to give an advice, I would say focus on uh, uh, large cap industries which can weather the corona situation, which have enough cash balance and stuff. You can also go long on smaller companies because I expect once this crisis is done, every company will see a 15-20% increase in their prices. But for a long term, I would still go for large caps and maybe consumer durables because uh, people will still want to eat and people would still want to buy some stuff. And I would avoid real estate like cement companies because the first thing people look for is to eat and to feed themselves, not build homes. So for those kind of companies, I would be a bit um, uh, how to say calculative, or yeah, I would think twice before investing in real estate or cement companies. Banks, I'm not sure. Maybe PSU banks is a good option because the government cannot let them fail. So, and in the short term, again, oil stocks is good. And in the long term, also,
Uh,
I think
uh,
stocks like Coal India and those are good. But yeah,
yeah, with regards to the financial sector, even I believe that the government will not allow a PSU bank of all banks to fail.
yeah,
But such is the condition of the overall sector, I think that government cannot allow any further banks to fail because that would
yeah.
have a crippling effect throughout the sector. So yeah, but even then, I guess the financial sector can be a bit of a hit and miss.
If you're in the
So
financial sector,
it,
try to go with the big names like SBI or ICICI because even if small banks kind of fail, the government will ask these PSUs to absorb them.
yeah, true. And I guess you have to go a little bit long on the banks because the aftermath of this crisis might not look that rosy for the banks.
Yeah, yeah.
It might take a couple of years to stabilize their balance sheets, right? So anyway, so just to make things a little more interesting, I'm going to mention a few uh, large or mid cap stocks, and just tell me yes or no uh, whether you would like to invest in them at this point of time. So let's start off with Tata Motors.
Yes. Two reasons. The stock has gone through most ultimate correction I've ever seen in my life. So Tata is a brand which will not let Tata Motors fail. Secondly, Jaguar was doing good in China. It went through a phase of bad performance and it was doing good in China until Corona situation came about. And Jaguar has a electric car. I forgot the model name, but it was voted as the best electric car of that
I-Pace.
year. I-Pace, yeah. So I think Jaguar after Tesla, I think Jaguar or JLR is it's quite behind Tesla, but they're still doing good job in electric cars.
Okay. So Tata Motors, yes. Uh, Mahindra and Mahindra.
Indian stock market likes Mahindra and Mahindra for some reason because they are heavily into tractors and agricultural stuff. So you may go long. Yeah, I think you can go long, but I would
No,
say
I'm not asking. I'm just asking a yes or no. Would you
no. If I
invest or not?
if I'm buying Tata Motors, I will not buy Mahindra and Mahindra.
Okay, Maruti Suzuki.
No, I have personal dislike for
Uh,
that company. Disclosure.
okay. L&T.
L&T, yes, I guess, because to jumpstart an economy, you need to invest in infrastructure. So it will create more jobs. It will create new opportunities, and making one bridge requires 10,000 other small companies to provide elements or components for that. So if the government is prudent enough to invest in infrastructure, I would say yes, L&T, yes.
Uh, Tata Consultancy Services. Would you invest? Yes or no?
I would wait a bit because until and unless US and Europe are back on their foot, TCS won't have much improvement. So it's a good stock. It's a good stock. In the long run, it would be good. But before investing, maybe it will go down a bit more before I put my money. So I will wait a bit.
Okay, and the last one, Reliance.
Yes, two reasons. The Geo will do good. They are very much diversified. Secondly, I have a lot of faith in Mukesh Ambani. He's a very shrewd and good businessman. You may not agree with what he does, but he's a good businessman.
Agreed. Okay, so thanks a lot for your insight into the stock market, Mr. Rishabh. And I guess now we'll divert our attention to Mr. Rajdeep. And yeah, Rajdeep. What are your best bets in the NASDAQ for this crisis? Which stocks are you buying, and what kind of return are you expecting?
Um, so during the crisis, actually, I haven't bought much, to be honest. Uh, Pre-crisis, I did buy something based on a recommendation from an investor newsletter that I follow. Um, there's this biotech company in the US called Inovio Pharmaceuticals, and
Okay, okay. I'm sorry to interrupt a lot. Innovio, I also bought. I had little bit of gain, but then I sold. But it's going like a sinusoidal wave. One day they are so high, other day
exactly.
they are
So
so
I
down.
was lucky to have bought it just based on the recommendation of the whatever newsletter I read. And I bought it cheap, like for 3 point some dollars. And then at one point it went up to about $15, but it then fell down
Yeah,
quite
to 7, I
sharply to
guess.
the same price. But I sold it about $8, 8 point something. I still made. Um, I did not put too much money in it, but I did. Yeah,
Can I
go ahead.
add one or two things? Yeah, no, this thing also I agree. I had also investment in Ovio, but I sold for a small profit because I was not sure because it was already going down and I was bit like, okay, I should not lose money, so I sold. Yeah, also this thing, Bill and Melinda gets invested in them. And I think for vaccine, currently there are two companies which are quite advanced. One is Moderna
Moderna,
and
yeah.
one is Inovio.
Yeah, yeah.
So the reason I'm not investing in any of them currently because I know the vaccine will take time to be approved. So right now I am invested in one company called Gilead or
Gilead
Gilead
Sciences, yeah.
Gilead Sciences because they have a medicine which can be approved maybe. So
Remdesivir,
medicine would
yeah.
be approved much remdesivir, yeah. So medicine can be approved much before than vaccine. So I think maybe once remdesivir gets kind of approval, I will sell it and then I will invest in Moderna or Inovio so that when vaccine comes, then
Yeah, I was also thinking
I can.
about both these companies. The reason I did not invest was because the news of these companies developing vaccines was getting a bit too much to follow.
Yeah.
Biotech companies generally are a bit of a hit and miss. It's very hard to predict.
Yes.
Unlike some disruptive software companies, you know they're going to disrupt and they're going to have huge recurring subscription-based clients, and the money is going to be coming in. Biotech companies are very difficult to predict. Like, you have to have some sort of in-depth knowledge about biotechnology, which I don't really have.
And the problem with Inovio or Moderna is that if Inovio gets a vaccine correct, Inovio will skyrocket and Moderna will go to the bottom. So you have to keep that in balance.
So.
Exactly.
But the thing that pulled me towards Inovio was the computational platform. In 3 hours, they developed an experimental vaccine using the power of computation. So, which is unlike any other company that have done it before. I mean, they're still a very small company compared to the others. This is the thing that I liked. And I have also listened to podcasts with their CEO, between Catherine Wood and their CEO on Spotify, and the CEO is very forward-looking. He has a vision, and I like it. So, but it's just that the market is a little unpredictable. That's why when I went more than 100%, I was like, I don't really have much reason to keep it. I was like, I've made enough. I can just sell it. But I wish I invested more than I probably would have wanted middle out for. but again, the risk factor with these biotech companies was that prevented me from doing much.
Yes.
I have the same regret for Tesla, actually. I bought Tesla around 360.
I believed the company from a very long time ago, and I still believe in it. It's just that Tesla is an expensive stock. Like, it's not a $3 stock, right?
Yeah.
So even at your most lowest point, you'd probably investing about more than $200 per stock, which is, I actually want to buy more, but I can't. That is the problem.
No, I actually bought a 360, which I think is kind of lowest in this kind of like last 2-3 months, because the lowest it went was 350. And I sold it at 460 or something. So I made $100 profit, but now it's at 560.
Yeah, exactly.
So I am waiting for it to drop below again to maybe 450. So I buy some more, because in long run, I agree. Tesla will touch maybe $2,000 like Amazon. I also invested in one cannabis company because it was so low. It was so low. I said, I cannot lose money.
Cannabis and vegan meat. I was so tempted to take these companies, but they fell down.
For vegan meat, I think you meant Beyond Meat.
Crisis.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would really I'll completely agree with your assessment of the healthcare sector being a little too unpredictable. So even though I really wanted to invest in some healthcare company, and I tried reading and researching my bet about it, but like you guys, I arrived at the conclusion that it's a little too much of a hit and miss, and I should rather stay clear of this because I really don't have any idea. So,
but I'm still invested in one of them.
No, even I am like as of now, I'm looking at my portfolio and it tells me that I have exactly 2.22% of my stocks in the healthcare sector. but I guess that will be all. I might have invested in Cipla. Is it pronounced as Cipla or what? So I guess CIPLA. So I was looking at Cipla when it was 482. Okay. And at that point my thinking was, I think it will go down a bit and then maybe I'll get it. And now it's at around 580, 585. So I missed that bus. So, and I don't think I will be getting on any other healthcare company bus anytime soon. So, yeah. So, what kind of returns are you expecting, Razdip, in percentage terms from all your investments during this crisis? Like from the ones earlier, I'm sure it's it's a lot more complex. But from the ones you have invested
I
in the
would be
crisis,
happy if I have at least 30%.
uh, same for
Yeah.
me. Same for I will be very happy if I get 30% within a year
Yeah,
or
within a
within
year.
like a
Yeah.
6 months.
I think I'm already touching close to 30% now. But the thing is, I don't know what's gonna happen in the future. So I'll have to make a call next week
Yeah, the market can still
about
go down.
yeah, the market can still go down. There's a very high possibility. Um, so I will take a call next week whether to just cash out and sit on it for a while. If it's, I mean, I just want to be a bit calculated.
So, anybody got any plans of investing in an airlines?
Not now.
I would, if in the Indian stock market, I think Indigo still has a lot of growth, and I feel like because in India, Indigo is probably the only airline which has got so much cash. The stock has taken a beating, which is probably why I would want to actually buy some if I can now, but I don't have an account, so I can't really do it.
Actually, I have I've been looking at Indigo stock from a long time now since this crisis began, and I even got a few only to sell it later on for a very tiny profit. But the I expected Indigo to go down further,
Yeah, me too.
and I
I
have to
thought it'll
say
probably go to like
it
800s or so.
yeah,
To
exactly.
the 800 mark.
I was like, it will settle down in between 7 and 800.
Yeah.
But it has still amazed me by staying somewhere around 1000.
1000, yeah.
And I'm not sure if this is like a fake trader rally, or is this like justified? I'm not sure. So that's why I've not invested in Indigo as of now. But yes, and on the other hand, I've been looking at SpiceJet as well, and SpiceJet has also gone up quite a good deal after its fall. So from 36 it went to 32, and now it's back at 47 almost. So that's not bad for SpiceJet either. And I'm not exactly sure what's happening here behind the screens, because the way I look at it, domestic as well as international travel is going to be very subdued for a long time
Yeah.
for the coming future. So and just the day before, Indigo announced that when they'll start operating flights, maybe in May, they will be operating at 50% capacity and with no meals on board. So at 50% capacity, they're keeping the middle aisle empty so as to enforce social distancing. I am not sure how much profit they will be making unless and until the ticket prices have to go up, right? They
Yeah,
cannot be
so
the
I
same
mean,
as they were before.
uh, there's other things as well. In the airline industry, the one critical factor that determines how much money an airline makes
Oil
is the
prices.
fuel price. So if the fuel prices continue to remain low, then they will benefit from this.
Exactly.
I mean,
That
it may not fully offset it. I don't think it'll fully offset it. But if the oil prices remain low, they will be able to take advantage of this. If they're not serving onboard meals or anything, that's again like the onboard meals. I think what I know about this is they don't make much revenue out of it, anyways. So if they cut down that, I don't think they have too much to bother.
no, I agree with Rajdeep. I also think
Yeah.
I was going to make that point before Rajdeep made it, that one of the reason I think you see some strength in these stocks is because oil prices are historically low, and the most costliest component of running an airline is oil prices or fuel prices. But if OPEC reaches a deal, it will not remain that low, but still quite low.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah,
Rishabh, but what I hear is supposedly Saudi Arabia and Russia have reached a
They have
deal.
all reached a deal. The
to-
only person who is playing party pooper is Mexico.
Okay. So, just to bring this discussion on stocks to a close, I would ask just one question from each of you. So, if you had to invest in only one stock, both in NASDAQ and in the Indian stock market, which would that be? Rishabh, let's start with you.
It's a very tough question because you do short-term investing, long-term investing. At least specify short-term or long-term.
Let's say time period of around a year.
Indian stock market, my perennial favorite, ITC. NASDAQ, maybe for the safety, and if you say 1 year, maybe Chevron.
Chevron. Okay. And let's get your views on this, Rajdeep. Which one would be your pick?
Indian market I haven't been in touch with for a long time, so I can't say much. But I would say Tata Motors. For now, I'm just coming from the list you discussed before. Because their stock price has taken a terrible beating, and they had come up with they have changed their design language. Their cars these days look a lot better than they used to be, and I think they will appeal to the Indian public. If an Indian car company is making such good cars, then you don't really need to buy a German car. And so I would probably go with Tata Motors. For now, I mean, I haven't
And
actually,
NASDAQ?
to be honest, I haven't looked at the Indian stock market for such a long time that I don't have names in my mind.
Tata Motors Tata Motors also listed in NASDAQ. So both ways in Tata Motors.
Sorry, I didn't quite catch you, Rishabh. What?
I said Tata Motors is also listed in NASDAQ. So you
Oh,
want to buy
no.
Tata Motors in both the exchanges.
Sorry. In the Nasdaq, I'd still go with Tesla.
So, okay. So, I guess it was a very enlightening discussion on stocks. And maybe we got a little bit deviated, but I'm sure you would excuse us for that. And make sure these are not suggestions. We are not asking you to go and buy these stocks and promising you anything. These are just our views. We are all laymen in the world of stocks. And maybe except Rishabh. He claims to have some kind of authority on this.
And I also want to make a disclosure that I might have holdings on some of the stocks I have discussed.
Rishabh spoke
yeah,
like a
as
true
my-
trader.
Me. Yeah.
You'd never know.
So anyways, I hope you liked our episode on stocks, and please like and subscribe for further random chit chats like this. And if you have any ideas or any suggestions, please feel free to contact us via the comment section. And stay safe and keep investing. Bye bye.